Hello and welcome back to the training. In this new video I'm going to be giving you some of my thoughts on what you can do with your shiny new CV. Now of course there's the standard sort of stuff you can do. You can go online, find the employment agency websites, register your CV and have a look at their job listings to see if there's anything there that's suitable for you to apply for. Of course, if you find something, do tailor your CV, that first page, to marry up with that job application as best you can, and then pop your CV in for the application and say, hey, please put me forwards for this job. You'll also get emails from the agents when there's a new job description that comes up that has some keywords that ties up with your CV. And when that happens, they email you to say, would you like to be put in for this job? And there's the job specification. Again, tailor your CV, email them back and say, yeah, I'd love to apply for this job. Here's a tailored CV for this specific position. That's all the sort of standard stuff that you can do with your shiny new CV. And what I'm about to talk about next is something I did a couple of decades ago, actually. And it's not for everyone, but some of you might find this interesting, and some of you might even find yourself doing it. For a little background, 2 decades ago, I'd taken a new role, and when I started that role, it quite quickly became apparent that I wasn't going to be very happy in that role. It was quite drastic. The managing director, it was a small company, and the managing director had a little bit of a temper on him. And I heard people talking about this, that he was a dog with a loud bark and no bite, so he'll calm down afterwards and everything goes back to normal. So I thought, okay, the managing director's a little bit volatile. Then I witnessed him lose his temper with somebody in the office. Not me, thankfully, but he was shouting and effing and blinding and telling them how effing stupid they are and what a waste of effing space they are, and eventually to F off out of his sight. And sure enough, he calmed down afterwards and everything went back to normal. Except for me, I witnessed that firsthand, thought this is not an environment I want to work in, where that is considered acceptable behaviour. So I turned back to my computer and immediately started writing out my resignation. I was new in the job, so a week later, that was it, I was out the door. No other job to go for. I haven't lined up my next job. I'm now unemployed, all of a sudden. So I do the standard stuff that I talked about earlier, which takes about a day. And then I was thinking, I really need to get a job quickly. What can I do about that? So I started looking up online companies, electronics companies for me, because if they're manufacturing electronics products, they've got to be able to design those products. That's what I do. So I started looking up electronics companies in the county where I live. And while I was doing this, I came across a business directory, a service online that has information about lots of businesses. So I looked into this and I purchased myself. You can set a budget and say what kind of companies you want. You can say what information you want about that company, and they'll provide you with a CSV, which is like a spreadsheet, and all the columns of what the information is you want: the company name, the salutation, the primary contact name, their email address is in all the columns, and you get rows of information for each company. I had a £100 budget at the time, and that bought me a list of 1,300 companies with all the right information in. At the time, 2 decades ago, there weren't the online services available that there are today. So for me, I had to learn what little I needed to about PHP so that I could write a script that would read in the CSV file that I'd bought and a template email with my CV attached to it and a covering letter. And incidentally, in that covering letter, I did explain what I was doing. I accepted that the first line, of course, goes to the primary contact for the business. Now, they're probably not going to be interested in my CV. So the first line of that template email was a nice hello, and could you please forward this to the relevant person within your business, i.e. the engineering manager for me. So then I'd run this script. Incidentally, spam was a thing back then, so I had to make sure the script would send out 1 email every 5 minutes, because if you sent out 1,000 emails all at once, you'd pretty quickly get blacklisted and none of the emails would get through. So I created my script to generate one of these emails every 5 minutes, and overnight it sent them all out so that in the morning 1,300 companies had my details, covering letter and my CV in their inbox. That led to 4 interviews and 2 job offers within a week. And I obviously took the best of those two job offers that week. And it turned out to be a great job. And talking to them, one of the things they were impressed with was the initiative that I'd taken. And I was clear in my covering letter that I was contacting all of the electronics companies areas in the electronics companies in the area directly myself with this information. It not only shows initiative on my part, but it also bypasses the employment agencies, and the companies will pay the employment agent around 10 to 15% of whatever your starting salary is for the introduction. So it saves them that money as well. These days, there's plenty of online services to help you do that. It's generally aimed at a business-to-business service, so companies that are trying to promote their products and services to other companies. But there's no reason why you can't use it yourself. So these days, this is actually quite easy. The examples I'm going to give you here are a couple of websites, so we're just going to switch over to my screen. And you'll see here, this is a company called Compass. And they literally have all sorts of information about all sorts of companies, and you can use their interface here to work out which sort of companies you want to contact, what areas they're in, i.e. the area you live in, and you can request a list of those companies and what relevant information you want from those companies in order to be able to contact them. So that's great, that's nice and easy. You can get the list of companies in your area that employ people like you. That's a great start. Now, what wasn't available 20 years ago and is now is email services. So here's one I've used before. This is called MailChimp, and essentially they will take your CSV file with all the relevant information, and they will also take a CV template essentially. So you write your covering letter in the CV, you attach your covering letter in the email, and you attach your CV to it. So MailChimp will then take the CSV with all the contact information for all the people you want to send that email to, and it will put that relevant information into each email that it sends out. So it'll have the right Mr. or Mrs. at the beginning of the email, their personalised name, and you can start your journey into telling these people that you're available and that you've got the initiative to be able to contact them directly. It's quite a powerful tool when you combine these two services together, and it's worked for me in the past. So if you've got the inclination to do this, it does take a little bit of investment, it takes some of your time, and it takes a little bit of money. Both of these services cost money. From recollection, the business directory service that gives you the list of company names, Compass here for example, last time I did this it cost me about 10 pence per company detail. So 1,000 companies, my 1,300 companies did cost me £100 to obtain that information. And again, the MailChimp service, if you want to send 1,000 emails in here, I'm not sure what their current costs are, but it might cost you 10, 15, 20 pounds to send out those emails, but it is a worthwhile exercise. So there we have it. That's what I would do if I was really searching hard to find a job quickly. I would go out of my way to promote myself to all the companies that employ people like me in my local area. I've only done it twice and it's worked both times. So if you're going to go down that path, I wish you the very best of luck and hope it works out for you. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.